Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Betska, the Guru Coach, with co-host Raj Vashisht from Delhi, India, and our wonderful guest, Warren Miles Pickup. And let me give you just a short introduction about Miles. I've known him for maybe 3 months. He's the CMO, COO of Pixel True, Pixel Copy, and Pixel Publishing, with over 20 years in marketing and leadership. He's an accomplished speaker and Amazon best-selling author. He has received numerous awards for his innovative strategies in sales and marketing. So this is why we want to pick his brain today, yeah? At Pixel True, he leads initiatives blending creativity with technology, significantly impacting digital art and marketing. And because I'm one of the authors for one of Warren's books, I can tell you this guy is a genius. He has expertise in driving business growth, and his visionary approach makes him a respected leader in the digital realm, right? Inspiring professionals across industries with practical advice and groundbreaking strategy. So welcome, Warren, to Mindful Leadership Beyond Borders podcast.
Thank you so much. That's incredibly flattering. I really appreciate such a kind introduction.
You're very welcome. So let me ask you, what does it take to become a best-selling author? You're an Amazon best-selling author. I mean, everybody dreams of becoming one. So what does it take?
Yeah.
Tell us. Yeah.
That's a great question. There's a few pieces to it that it takes. One is an idea. So you have to have an idea. You have to have something unique within you that you want to get out there. So being able to take that idea and turn it into a voice that you can express to the population. You also want to have an audience, so a group of people that are naturally already attracted to what it is that you are saying. So for myself, because I had spent 17 years in finance, I had built up a significant network of individuals that were already interested in hearing what I had to say. And so those are kind of the first two pieces. The next piece is having a very attractive cover of your book. I know you would think that doesn't mean much, but it really does. It is a book, looking at a book by its cover is very, very much something in the publishing industry that you have to be conscious of. You have to have something that attracts people and is emotive, that it draws in them wanting to learn more about it. And then the last piece is there's a little bit of a technique with regards to managing Amazon and the listing of your book. So making sure that you are selecting the right categories for putting your book into so that you can, when you're pre-selling your book and you're building all of the momentum for your launch day, that sort of thing, that you have a certain number of orders going in on one day so that it drives you up the rankings for that day. You may not stay as a bestseller for an extended period of time, but you want to ensure that you have a whole bunch of orders going in over the first 2 to 3 days so that it can drive you up in rankings within categories where there may not necessarily be a huge amount of transactions taking place, or where you can dominate that category for a period of time.
Wow, yeah. I remember that now. I'd forgotten, but my spiritual teacher, for example, we all ordered on the same day.
Yeah.
Some of her books, right? And then so many, Dr. Will Tuttle, he did the same thing with the World Peace Diet and so on. It's a trick, but
yeah. It's a very effective one. And it's not necessarily that you are tricking the world. It's just that you are ensuring that those purchases have the largest impact from a marketing perspective for you and for the representation of the book. It still takes quite a few copies being sold to drive you up into those higher rankings. But depending on the category selection that you have, it's going to be a difference between thousands of copies on day one and hundreds of copies on day one.
Right. Okay, great.
But having a great book, that looks really good is kind of the starting point. You really do have to have a unique idea. That I think the biggest challenge for a lot of authors out there is that the idea they want to present to the world is something that has already been done, and it's been done 1,000 different ways because of this easier access to publication through self-publishing, whether it be through Barnes and Noble or Amazon or any of the other platforms. There is a lot more content out there, so it makes it even more important that you are presenting something that is unique, something that is going to be impactful.
I know the book that I'm a part of is called Unleashing Potential, and
Mm-hmm.
Raj, the color of the book is turquoise blue, and I just love it. It's the throat chakra, right? And so, wow, the impact when people look at the front cover of that book, I'm sure they go, wow, right?
It is a beautiful book. It really does look nice, and the message inside of it is also unique. Like there is so much in there when you look at how important it is for people today to unleash their potential, to really capture it, because so much of it, us keep it constrained. We're either afraid of the risks that come with unleashing our potential, or we're carrying trauma, or dealing with all these other issues that force us to look away from the true potential that we have inside of us. It's a really impactful series of chapters from all of the authors.
Yes, absolutely. And getting back to color, the book that I'm writing that will follow Unleashing Potential is the designer sent me. No, sorry, it wasn't that book. It was one of my older books. She wants to start putting a lot of my older books because I've written 7 or something, and so she redesigned the front cover, but the background was this pukey green. It's the best way to describe it. I looked at it and I thought, no, there's no way, right? So I gently wrote back and I just said, and she learned from it. I mean, we're learning from each other. We're learning a ton from you, and anyway, we're passing the knowledge along. But to me, that front cover design is imperative.
Yeah, it really is. It drives a lot of the attraction from individuals because it needs to stand out. So green wouldn't necessarily always be my first choice from a color perspective, but I will say if you read a lot of books like I do with regards to business and self-help and all those sorts of things, there's one pair of authors, Chip and Dan Heath, who wrote a book called Decisive that is bright green. And after there's another one right over here called Made to Stick, which is bright orange from them. And so they've kind of made a pattern out of utilizing these very, very vibrant colors on their covers in order to make sure that they stand out when they're being put on Amazon or in bookstores, that kind of thing, because it grabs your attention.
It's part of their branding.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they write a lot about that in Made to Stick, which is an exceptional book if anybody's looking for a really good book on that sort of thing.
That's so cool. Well, on my mantle there is my I think it was my 4th book or something called The God in Coaching: The Key to a Happy Life, and it's a vibrant purple with gold lettering on it.
I love it,
and I just love it. And
very regal.
Very regal, and it was originally meant as a textbook, and now anybody can read it. And I had it printed in India, so the Indians just do a fabulous job of their printing. So Raj has a question for you.
Sure.
Which I find interesting. So fire away, Raj.
Yeah. I'm very curious because everybody want to become very famous. So the value with impactful material in the books is very important. So how they will become very famous according to you?
Well, I think becoming very famous is not just about being saying things that are impactful. It's about finding your audience and being able to get that message out there. And I think that's the most significant challenge that most authors run into. It's not necessarily writing out the words or publishing the book. It's about finding a way to get that message in front of as many people as possible. And there are a huge amount of very impactful writers out there that will never be seen because they don't have the methodology to get that message in front of as many people as you need to for the impact to actually be felt. And so we were talking a little bit before this about, why aim for best-selling author when you could be aiming for most impactful author. And I think the reality is that those two need to go hand in hand. They need to be combined, because if you don't get the book in front of people, no matter how impactful you are, the message isn't being heard. It doesn't have the opportunity to be impactful until you have the momentum behind it to get it in front of as many people as possible. So there's you have to combine that marketing aspect with the successful writing, the impactful writing, the profound thoughts, those sorts of things. If you're not focusing on how do I now make this message consumable by as many people as possible, you will never pass that point of being the writer, right? Being an author is about more than just being a writer. It's about being somebody who transitions from putting words on a page to getting a message to a large group of individuals. And so, best selling is merely just a mechanism for ensuring that people recognize that you have impactful teachings and that it is more likely to be consumed by a larger group of individuals.
Okay, folks, we're going to pause for a moment. We're going to come back to Mindful Leadership Beyond Borders Part 2 with Warren Miles Pickup. And in Part 2, Warren, I think what we'd love to hear about is this new coach series that you have. What are those books all about? But I'd also enjoy you spending some time teaching us about some marketing strategies, because I know
Sure.
you're a genius at that. So folks, we'll be right back for Part 2. Stay tuned.